So the fourth installment of your Enlightenment videos is the impact of the Enlightenment. This Enlightenment is in the barn under the Enlightenment folder. There's two parts to your left side assignment today. The first option is to make a Venn diagram comparing and contrasting Rococo art that you learned about with Renaissance art that we learned about earlier. Your second option is to write a letter pretending that you're Voltaire to Catherine the Great, according to what you learned about her. And then the other part is to do notes on the section that you don't do the assignment on, if that makes sense. Okay? So, the impact of the Enlightenment. This is taking all those political philosophies that we learned about and showing how it impacted other things in the world, such as art. An example of of Rococo art is its architecture, which can be seen in the works of Balthasar Neumann. And an example of something that he was the architect of is the Church of the 14 Saints in Germany. And since that is in Germany, they call it Versenheiligen. Right? So there you go. You see how it's very grandiose. He also was the architect for the residence of the Prince Bishop of Würzburg, or der Residenz zu Würzburg. Now these pictures here obviously are not clear at all, but if you look at the PowerPoint on your computer, you'll see that they're much more clear, and you see all the detail that went into his design. Now he himself was a Renaissance man, and almost like the Rococo version of Da Vinci, in that he started off as a military engineer, just like Durer and Da Vinci did. But he did receive patrons, where he worked on his architecture. So he was born in what's now considered Eastern Austria. Then was considered an Eastern Austrian state, but it's now considered the Czech Republic, but it was a German-speaking area. So this time period, the art is either considered late Baroque or Rococo. And there is some differences between Italian and French Rococo. We don't need to know that much detail. But what you want to know is that while Baroque art was much more religious, Rococo art was much more secular. You're not going to find art pictures of saints and religious nature in Rococo art. It influenced painting, sculpture, architecture. Much of Rococo art was interior, like wall paintings, ceilings, all that sorts of stuff. An example of a Rococo artist would be Antoine Watteau. And once again, if you look in the PowerPoint, you'll see the pictures a lot better there. Rococo art, unlike Renaissance art, which was symmetrical, Rococo art focused on asymmetry, and whereas Renaissance focused on geometry and those fixed lines, you see a lot more curves and wavy lines in Rococo art. Also, while Renaissance art was more imposing with things like marble statues, remember the David and all that art we looked at, you see a lot more porcelain and sort of light, carefree art. Now, the music is really hard to explain without listening to it, and if you take the music history class at our school, it really goes into the differences. But the same thing, they were more carefree and less patterned. Now, the second part of this PowerPoint is about enlightened despots. And an example of an enlightened despot was Catherine the Great of Russia. Now, she actually was born in Prussia, but she went to Russia after her marriage, and she ruled Russia from what's known as its Golden Age, from 1762 to 1796, and look how those years correspond with our revolution. So she read a lot of the work of philosophers and tried to incorporate them into her reign. She invited them for discussion, such as Denis Diderot. She liked The Spirit of the Laws by Montesquieu, because remember that suggested that very large countries did need a despot to rule over that many people, and consider how big Russia was, that seemed to solidify her reign. Under her role, she did also expand Russia. If you look where it already was very large. So even adding on more territory made it even bigger, but it did also bring it west. So embracing a lot of those European Enlightenment ideals. Now I went through this all very brief. You did do text work on this, so this is just a supplement. So feel free to check your book to help you with the left side assignment for today, especially for the Enlightened Despot if you want to do the letter between Voltaire and Catherine the Great. The password today, the pictures in today's video was taken from my daughter in St. Louis. So that's the password today, St. Louis. And get ready for a notebook quiz, and we'll see you soon.